Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J. Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there. He's punching me in the stomach like, punching me.
Here, there's everyone sitting around. Who here thinks Ochenko can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad doing 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Ochenko can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You're more fucked up than me.
On the Spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
You heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time
Good show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you gonna bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it.
The SEC is God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should.
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Hello. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today is Monday, October 7th. It is the weekend, or the week that everybody has been anticipating. Any college football fan has been anticipating. It is the October 12th weekend, which obviously LSU is at home against Ole Miss, but there's a plethora of matchups around the landscape of college football. So this is the week everybody was excited about. Everybody's really well rested here, at least here in Baton Rouge. Very well rested. Some other teams around the SEC not as well rested. Probably didn't sleep much over the last couple days. Trying to figure some things out.
Kalen DeBoer.
No, he is no Nick Saban.
No Nick Saban.
I don't think anybody was trying to fool him.
He's wearing a T-shirt on the damn sidelines.
I don't think anybody was trying to fool him as being Nick Saban. I think he's still a really good coach. Crazy game. Crazy win for Vanderbilt. We'll talk more about that. But LSU comes off a bye week. Much needed. Get some guys healthy. Get some guys ready. Got to sit back and relax and watch college football. I think that was a good thing for them to see. Because, hey, listen, a lot of chaos happened last weekend. And they were able to see it from afar, from their couches, or wherever they were at this past weekend. And maybe that's a little bit of a motivator to them. Hey, listen. we keep doing what we're doing. We play discipline. We can be those teams that are not losing and winning these big games and are getting talked about. The AP Top 25 came out. LSU stayed put at 13. Amidst all the chaos and all the people losing, they do not move up one spot. They are number 10 in the coaches poll, which, if you think about it, the coaches poll feels like it's a little bit more valid than the AP poll in the sense of the coaches who actually coach the game of football are voting on that, and the AP poll is media personalities, media pundits are voting on that.
How do you get a vote?
Huh?
How do you get a vote?
I don't know. Ask Cookie Riley.
It's the hardest thing he's ever had to do.
Ask Cookie Riley. Notre Dame, one of the most notable teams to jump LSU. I feel like that's probably, of all the teams that jumped them, I think that's the one that probably shouldn't. I feel like they love doing that to have the storyline of Brian Kelly, Notre Dame, that whole deal. If you don't remember, Notre Dame has a loss this year to a unranked Northern Illinois team. Now, obviously, USC is now unranked because they lost last weekend to Minnesota. Not a great loss.
Ski you ma.
But
Row the boat.
He's still there. Still doing it. But at the time LSU lost to them, it was a bigger game. Obviously, USC was ranked in the top 10 going into this past weekend. Didn't work out. Or maybe not this past weekend, but they were ranked in the top 10 at one point this year. They lose. They fall out of the rankings. LSU is 10. Coaches poll, 13 in the AP poll. But they have a lot of ground to make up. I don't think the rankings mean shit. You go out this weekend and you do what you need to do against Ole Miss, you're going to be right where you need to be. But the back end of the schedule, as Jared has talked about numerous times on the show, is obviously we knew it was going to be tough, but I think it's going to be tougher than we even anticipated. Arkansas beats Tennessee. They're a lot better than I think people thought they were going to be. They have a quarterback who's out there slinging the rock. Vanderbilt, everybody laughs at it, but they come to LSU, right? I'm not saying top to bottom, Vandy's not as talented as LSU, but you just saw what they did to Alabama. And at home, Nick Saban said that's the only place that's not hard to play at. Well, they took that to heart. Pavia, is it Daniel Pavia? What's his first name? Diego Pavia. This man is a legend. This man's not going to pay for a drink on Broadway Street for the rest of his life. He was doing
the most.
That's a dangerous place to not be paying for a drink for the rest.
Kid Rock's bar?
No doubt. As long as you're not throwing chairs off balconies and stuff.
You know how many bachelorette parties were like, what the fuck is going on?
The field goal post going right to the bachelorette party. Just floating down the street. Theo Vaughn on the field. How great was that?
How was he there?
Dunk the coach with Gatorade. How great was that? Diego Pavia is a living legend. He ran that offense to perfection. Made the throws when he needed to make the throws. Scrambled. Looked like a mini. Look, he said Johnny Manziel was his idol. He grew up watching him. And he was doing some Johnny Manziel stuff as far as scrambling around, finding open guys, extending plays. Really, really fun to watch. You may not ever see that ever again. Vanderbilt may never beat Alabama ever again. And you beat Alabama now at the height, almost, I say the height. I mean, Alabama has never really been better than they have been over the last 15, 20 years. And Vanderbilt takes them down. Hard place. We talked about road games in the SEC, even going to Vandy. Ain't a gimme. Right? SEC is a different beast than it ever has been. It's always been tough. It's a different beast now. But you watch those games, that's pretty cool to watch. You see Tennessee go out there, and I don't want to even say lay an egg. Arkansas beat them down. Arkansas kept that offense in check, did what they needed to do to win the game, and that was another big upset. Both those teams are on the schedule moving, and then A&M looks like kind of a wagon now. Now, let's take it with a grain of salt. Jared has not been on Missouri all year, and I haven't really got to watch Missouri. And I think Missouri may have been the biggest pretender out there, which I don't know how because they bring in a lot back. But they have not looked good all year, and A&M exposed them.
Blake Baker saw the signs. I got to get out of town.
He did.
Got to get out of Dodge.
He knew it. He knew what was going on.
Eli Drinkwitz apparently a hard worker. That's what he said.
Sure, he works hard. It's great.
Nerd.
You're supposed to work hard.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Part of the job.
I'm glad you worked hard, but not hard enough. You got boat raced by A&M.
Some would say the refs.
I don't think the refs scored 41 points.
Took away 41 points. Not me. I was on.
I don't think
I was on A&M.
I don't think that.
Are they still crying about that one touchdown?
I don't think that really mattered.
The Luther Burden, where they didn't throw the flag.
That's the one we're crying about.
I don't know if
They
anybody.
lost by 31.
Yeah, I don't think that was gonna matter.
South Carolina needs to take notes. Y'all were so worried about LSU for 4
I
weeks.
give South Carolina a little bit more of a bone to pick if you want. They lost by 3. You lost by 31. I don't want to hear that shit. Like,
Right.
Get out of here.
Right. South Carolina got boat raced by Ole Miss.
They did.
Right. Ole Miss was a pretty surgical win for them. Played really good defensively. South Carolina could not do anything offensively. Now, I think South Carolina went to the gimmicky well way too early. The fake punt in their own territory early in the game, not great. You had another opportunity later in the game to do something, didn't work out. They kind of put themselves in a hole.
Tell me you don't believe in me without telling
Exactly.
me.
Exactly.
You don't
Exactly.
believe in me.
Like, hey, let's kick this thing off. Let's let this thing play out. Let's not force their hand. Let's
Play our game.
play our game and see what happens. You fell right into their hands. You think giving Lane Kiffin a short field that early in the game after they stopped the fake punt was a good idea? No. Score 7, boom, you get the ball back. You go for it again on 4th down again. Don't get it. 7 points. So now you're in this hole that's almost insurmountable.
Is this something that LSU could learn from? Because we've seen Brian Kelly go for it on 4th down multiple times this year and throughout his tenure at LSU.
I think there's a difference between going on 4th down in the rhythm of the game and going for 4th down when you're trying to.
We're not as good as them.
Yeah. When
Or
you're
that's what
kind
you
of
think,
That's
yeah.
what's kind of a desperate 4th down. I don't think that was in the rhythm of the game. I think they were just trying, like, oh, man, we can't give it back to them because we don't know if we can stop them. But instead, let's just not get it and give them 50 yards to go instead of 70 yards to go, 80 yards to go. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't think that LSU really falls in that category. We're going to get into that, though. We're going to get into that. Let's go through the rest of the Heineken headlines. Obviously, Major League Baseball playoffs are going on. First weekend of the playoffs was pretty electric. Not the wild card weekend, but first weekend
DS.
of the ALDS and NLDS, the DS series. Pretty electric, right? Some big moments, a lot of chippiness being had on the field. Dodgers-Padres game is a little intense, and I'm here for it. I mean, you got trash being thrown on the field. You get balls being thrown at the left fielder. It's gonna be fun, and both teams aren't shy. I have people on the team that aren't shy for speaking what they feel, right? They don't hide their opinions. Manny Machado likes to run his mouth a little bit. Fernando Tatis Jr. likes to run his mouth a little bit. Musgrove, but he's hurt. I think it's gonna be fun. I think it has been fun. Best sports month of the year, October, because of this. What we got going on.
What's crazy is I didn't even get to watch any baseball because college football was so good like the entire weekend. Miami escapes again. You have USC go down. There were so many upsets.
And we're gonna get into all the college football talk.
It's just crazy that I didn't
Saints
even think
play
about
tonight.
it. Yeah.
Saints Chiefs play Monday Night Football.
Live stream.
There were some crazy things happening in the NFL season, NFL weekend. Saints and Chiefs play tonight. Chiefs have been teetering on the brink of losing games all year. They have not lost one yet. Saints are 5.5-point dogs. I like them. I do. A non-biased as we can be pick. I think the Saints can go in there. Chiefs have kind of been teetering with that bad football but getting wins. Sometimes it's hard to. What did Nick Saban say? The worst thing for a football team is playing bad and winning because there's no lessons to be learned there. Obviously, NFL Chiefs are a little different because they're in the middle of a dynasty right now. But this could be the whole. Hey, we played bad. We finally lost. Okay, let's kind of reevaluate. It's hard to reevaluate and let people believe in this when you're winning. So we'll see what happens. We'll have this game on. It'll be towards the back end of our show. We'll give you updates. And the last bit of the Heineken headlines, I want to save the best for last. I don't think we're giving this enough credit. And we're not talking about this. And we're not promoting this enough. And we need to be better. And I hope the people who are watching us and listening to us, and if they've tailed us, they understand the magnitude of what we're doing right now. The Mik'd parlay has hit again. This is the 4th time in 6 weeks. We are 4-2 on 3-leg parlays at plus 600, right? 4-2 on 3-leg parlays at plus 600 odds. That's hard to do. That's not a very common thing.
You like money?
If you like money and you like the doll hairs, tail us or don't. And look back at
it
the
could
end of the
come
season
crashing down at any point.
And it could be.
If you already missed the boat, so be it.
And that's your fault.
That's your
because
fault.
here's the deal: we've been talking about. We lost the first one, went 3 straight. I fucked up on
Hand up.
Hand up. My bad.
Best
That was on
ability
me.
is accountability.
That was on me. We rebounded, and honestly, Pretty stress-free parlay, to be honest with you. I mean, I was watching the game, and then I think Navy covered before the fourth quarter. I think the over/under hit before the fourth quarter. Ole Miss was methodically just putting it on.
Are you
South
watching
Carolina.
these games like the way that I feel like I am when you're watching your pick like super intense? Like it feels like old school gambling.
I
again.
was watching Navy on my phone.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've never done it in my life.
The Alabama game was the one I was like, I have to
I'm
finish this Ole
watching
Miss
Navy
game
Air
out.
Force football game on my phone, rooting for them to score. I don't even know the guys' names, but I know that Navy's my team right now, and I'm riding them. Army was, that wasn't in the parlay. Jared had the Indiana, and that was probably the one that we sweated. I'm putting this in quotations because it was over. Wasn't like the last play of the game, but they had to go into the fourth quarter a little bit. Indiana kind of had to find their footing, and then they separated, and it was an easy cover, right? When I say sweat, it was
good teams win.
It had to do it in the fourth quarter, but it wasn't the end of the fourth quarter.
Great teams cover.
I mean, it was look.
Was it 41-24?
41-24, right? And it was a 13.5 point spread.
No. Oh yeah, 13.5. Yeah.
13.5 point spread. So, for a minute there, it was like tied, and it was like, damn, Indiana's like not really. The weather was bad. It was super windy. We talked about that. They're playing in this lacrosse, whatever soccer stadium
on the lakes.
On the lakes, which is a great view. Terrible wind. I mean, you could see it whipping in there. And I was like, well, maybe. And then Indiana figured it out. Offense did what they needed to do, and ran away with it. What a freaking parlay! And we're gonna do it again this weekend. Falls. Great weekend overall for betting. I don't know about y'all. I had a great weekend betting. I enjoyed it. Placed 15 bets. Went 10-5. Pretty good.
500?
Well,
more than that. Went 10 to 5. So, yeah.
Yeah.
5 into 10. I don't know how
you got to get out
works.
5 times in a row to be batting 500.
Yeah, so it was good. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed the weekend. Didn't touch NFL again, which I'm very happy about. Been very disciplined so far. Got off the schneid in fantasy football. Got my first win. Well, I probably just mushed it.
Oh, yeah, there's still games to be played.
Well, he needs Patrick Mahomes and their defense.
Oh, he's not good.
And their defense to score 60 points combined.
You might have still mushed
I know. I may have just mushed it.
It was a good weekend.
Yeah, it was a good weekend.
Terrible week.
Needless to say. And we're going to talk about the Saints.
They mess around and play one of those Chiefs and Bengals games. You just mushed it.
Mahomes has 45.
Remember that game? It was the Giants Saints at Superdome when Drew Brees threw like 6 touchdown passes or 7 touchdown passes, and Eli Manning threw 5 or 6.
Yeah.
It was like 50-something to 50, and I was like,
I think Odell had like 3 touchdown catches with
I was
like
at
6
the game.
yards in that game.
I was at the game. And the Saints won, but I was like, if that happens, it's like, well, it's not meant for me this year. But let's talk about the Saints game before we get to the college football and LSU conversation. Saints are 5.5-point dogs. I don't know what the injury report is on them. Demario Davis, I know, was a limited participant in practice at some point in the week. That, for me, makes me feel like he's going to play.
I think Taysom's in.
Taysom is in.
That would be
That would be a huge thing.
I believe so. I think that's what I heard earlier today.
I'm pulling up the injury report right now per Pro Football Network. And Saints designated as out. Defensive tackle Christian Boyd, linebacker Willie Gay, tight end Taysom Hill.
He's out.
Spencer Rattler's out. Cesar Ruiz out. Peyton Turner out. Pete Werner out.
Whew. That's a lot of outs. Some key players in there.
Hey.
Pete Werner, but
Circle the wagons.
Next man up mentality. You got to go out there and you got to play.
I mean, at this point, like, you just got to understand, like, you're going to have some outs, and that is what it is. And there's realistically, if you're playing professional football, like, there's about 22 key players that you actually really need. What you really don't want out is the game changers. That's the ones you don't really want out, and that's the ones that makes a big difference. So this is a spot where there's some good players out, but it is legit next man up because you're falling in at a spot where you need to win. You don't want to take 3 in a row. You go on the road. You're playing. This is a test for you to kind of figure out where you are in this thing, and you don't want to fall behind the division while you're in it. So it's a good spot for them.
Yeah, it's listen, LSU, I mean, the Saints probably could look up and say they should be 4-0, and they're not. They're 2-2. The Chiefs can look up and say we should be 1-3, and they're 4-0. And sometimes that's just the way football goes, and sometimes that's because the team just knows how to win, And the other team just really hasn't figured out how to get over that hump yet of winning games that they probably either should win or shouldn't win. Today, I think that the Saints are going to go out there and they're going to be able to sustain it and they're going to be able to finish games. Because the issue is it's not getting up, it's finishing the game in the fourth quarter. And that's what the Chiefs do so well, and that's what the Saints haven't done yet this year. I think it's going to be a fun game. I think you're going to see the offense start to click a little bit with Taysom out. It'll be the first time they've done it this year without Taysom in the game. I think that they now have enough games under their belt and familiarity with the offense and the scheme to be able to kind of replace that. We shall see. It's going to be entertaining. The game last night was not very entertaining. Oh, I guess it was entertaining. It was just you had to stay up for it.
It was close.
You had to stay up for it. I did not stay up for it.
I'm kind of in on the delays. This is the second game that's been delayed by the NFL because of weather. And it's like you turn it on and you're waiting, and it's like Football Night in America. It's like, how long does this show run? It's like, oh, weather delay, 8:45 kick. Like,
wow.
Okay.
9:45 on Eastern time, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's Pac-12 after dark, but in the NFL.
Basically.
1:30 in.
Played on the East Coast.
1:30 ending.
Because I stayed up for the Miami game on Friday, and then woke.
I did too.
I did not.
It was too good. I was like, I'm watching it, and then.
Did you think?
Then game day.
No, did you think they were gonna win? In the fourth quarter, you're like 35-10. Like I think something they can
Oh,
come
I
back.
fired at plus 5,500 on Miami.
So you did, yeah, you did think that.
I was just because of how they play and like they can score as fast as anybody in the country. Obviously, and I feel like there's a little bit of ACC bias going on with Miami where they're trying to kind of help them along.
But Clemson's kind of
they want them both to play for a spot.
Yeah.
Because if there's a real world because of what happened in the SEC this weekend, there's a world where the ACC gets two teams in, where you look at Clemson with one loss or Miami with one loss, and you put them both in.
I'm not sure why we're thinking that wasn't always a real world.
Yeah, I think.
I feel like so many people are putting SEC teams in. They're like, oh,
yeah,
if they get
but my point is at the beginning of the year, if you had two ACC teams that had one loss, they're not putting 5 SEC teams.
Yeah,
in
right,
front of
but I think people think they are.
No, I don't. I think it was the opposite at the start of the year. I think people really thought that, hey, look, you're going to get 3, probably 4. They're not going to put 5 SEC teams in there if there's 2 one-loss ACC teams. That's not going to happen. It just won't happen.
Nope, I agree. But I feel like people.
It was probably some misguided.
People want
yeah.
the 5 SEC. A lot of people, especially here, that just was not going. That's not going to happen if there's that many teams sitting around with one loss, because it's impossible to have that many SEC teams sitting around with one loss.
I just think a lot of people are misconstruing what the playoff is. Like, it's not going to be the 12 best teams. Like, there's a format to it to where there's going to be somebody left out at the end of the day, where if you thought that you were going to get 5 or 6 SEC teams in that you probably feel like might deserve it, that's not going to how it's going to go.
It's a little bit closer to like Pro Bowl format. Well, first off, like there's a world where those top 4 automatic bids that get in, you could be sitting at whoever's ranked 4th in that situation. You could be literally thinking, man, I think they're like the 7th or 8th best team in the country right now. But they'll be ranked 4th and they'll have a bye because they won that conference championship.
Right.
So like that's, and then now it becomes the pretty test after that. It becomes the beauty pageant after that. So it'll be interesting, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if we saw 2 ACC teams in it. I just wouldn't be. Not one bit.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either. I mean, that's two ACC teams with one loss. I think, look, Clemson has kind of clawed their way back into relevance.
Been really good.
Right? They have been playing really well. I'm still not – they're playing really well in the way Clemson wants to play really well. We're going to play really good defense, and we're going to score how we need to score. Their quarterback, I think, is starting – they're just letting them run. Like, hey, you just run. Like, you're not going to – don't sit in the pocket and sling it. We need you to just do what you need to do, be athletic, and run, and get yards, however you need to get yards. What's that?
Also, SMU 5-1.
SMU 5-1.
In the ACC.
I forget they're in the ACC.
Me too. That's why I just looked it up. I was like, oh, okay. They got some options.
No doubt. So, it's going to be – this is when all the conference season starts to really start, right? Now it's all conference games. You're playing interconference competition. And you saw it this past week in the SEC where it doesn't matter who's playing who, anybody can lose. Alabama went to Vandy and lost, right? Arkansas, were they at home?
Arkansas was
at Tennessee?
home.
At
Arkansas
home.
was at home, yeah.
Yeah, so Arkansas at home against Tennessee beats Tennessee. Road games are tough, right? We talked about going on the road at South Carolina and winning. that was a tough game. You look at all these other games, they've all been tough. Kentucky almost beat Georgia on the road. So, at home. So, it's going to be interesting to see how it shakes up. Big Ten's going to shake up. They're going to start cannibalizing each other. SEC obviously does that every year. More so this year. Texas, I think, is the only undefeated SEC team right now. They're about to get through the nuts and bolts of their schedule.
Who's the only
Texas?
SEC?
Texas?
No. A&M is too.
No, overall record.
Okay, about to say they're
Yeah.
3-0 on the SEC
overall
too.
record.
Okay,
Yeah.
They lost to Notre Dame.
They lost to Notre Dame, but overall record, not just in conference, but overall, they're the last undefeated team. They're number one team in the country. Get Quinn Ewers back this week.
Interesting to see what they
Red
do
River
with that.
rivalry.
Shootout.
Red River is it shootout? Red River shootout. This weekend.
You can't take that away from me, especially with all the antics on the field. Everybody's shooting somebody out. Did you see the defensive end for South Carolina?
Dude, what is the deal with these gun celebrations?
I don't know.
South Carolina he murdered that guy.
I don't know.
He emptied the clip.
He shot him like 8 times.
Many men.
That thing was heavy too.
I mean, Jesus.
That thing was heavy.
Some nice recoil to that thing.
Jackson Dart goes. He went on Twitter after. He goes, "Miss me."
I mean, I just don't understand. You're going to get a penalty.
It's been a point of emphasis.
Why do we keep doing that?
Kyron Lacey was the first one that started this entire thing. Now you can't do it in the NFL at all, and now you have people brandishing weapons where they're like pulling the Glock
boys
out.
like playing Call of Duty, huh?
Yeah, good lord.
I mean, I don't know why people keep doing it, but they do it.
It's my rights. 2A.
Yeah, and on the field, not the invisible gun, right?
It's not the last Boy Scout.
Can't happen. But the conference schedules are gonna shake some things up. LSU schedule obviously continues to get tougher. Starts with this weekend against Ole Miss at home. Ole Miss opens. I think it's already gone down, but I think they opened yesterday at what was it 3.5?
It is officially 3 right now.
Okay,
which
I saw it at 2.5 just now.
I grabbed it at 3, just like right before the show.
But it was I think it was 3.5 that it opened up. Correct?
I can check.
Do we know that off the top of our head? I'm looking for it too. I'm trying to speak and search at the same time.
I got it. I'll be stat boy.
Stat boy. How about UL sneakily being 4-1? Look at that.
Would they take Billy back? Sneaky Billy. If Billy gets bowl eligible, he'll stay.
Oh, no doubt.
And because he's already been fired, is what people are saying.
If he's bowl eligible, he stays. Big Kansas State Colorado game. Wow. Where's the LSU game?
I've not seen it move.
There it is.
According to I'm on Action Network, but it is steady at 3 right now. So I went ahead and grabbed
3.
LSU at +3 just because. Over under 64.5.
Yeah, as of now.
Will it make it in the parlay? Stay tuned.
As of now, everything's on Ole Miss. Money and bets. As of now.
How quickly people change.
Oh,
Everybody was on South Carolina.
Yep, no doubt. All right, let's get to the game this weekend, though. They obviously open the line opens as home dogs against Ole Miss. Ole Miss obviously bad showing against Kentucky, and rebound with a really good showing against South Carolina at South Carolina. Obviously, common opponent. To me, that doesn't really matter. It's just nice to talk about. They come into Baton Rouge, ranked above them, ranked in the top 10. How are we feeling about the game? Let's talk about it.
I mean, this.
Yeah, Jared does. I like it.
This will be interesting. Looking at him, watching him play, I think if you can kind of take out one and target the other on opposite ends of the football, I think you got a chance. If you can kind of take out, and we don't know how healthy he is and if he'll be playing, but if you can minimize what Trey Harris is able to do, you kind of bracket him, kind of beat him up at the line a little bit, maybe blanket someone over the top of him. He is, in my opinion, their offense. He has 50-plus catches already
55, you said, right?
53, 50, something like that. 50-plus catches already on the season, almost 1,000 yards already on the season. And through the 2 SEC games I've watched him play, there is a lot of free access, letting him run, letting him get into routes. They use him a lot in RPO stuff. So if he's one guy that you're going to let play like that, he'll have 10-plus catches again, and he will be the catalyst to their offense. But if you find a way, which an LSU team who's had 2 weeks to prepare for this game, if you find a way to start getting into him and start putting hands on him and start being physical with him early, you can kind of make somebody else have to kind of step up a little bit. I want to see if that's what they'll do.
Yeah.
On the other side of it, I would be attacking Trey Amos all day. Look, the kid's athletic. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but there is some discipline stuff that you can attack. There is some playing that you can kind of get into him a little bit. And I think if you do that, you got a good chance, because I do think they're not as physical as you think they are. They don't want to be as physical as you think they want to be. They want to finesse you. They want to run quick on you. They want to kind of run you out of the gym a little bit until they get inside the 5, and then they'll put their physical guy in.
Pegasus.
Like, they'll put him in. So at that point, that's completely different. But
Pegasus?
I think this is a weekend. This is an opportunity for LSU to come in and actually start getting some more national respect, because they really haven't gotten it. Let's be completely honest this year. I think if you show up this weekend and you do what you need to do, things could look different for you going forward.
I think, and we talked about this being a big game, right? And I don't want to be, overstated, because it's not what I'm trying to do, but they haven't gotten a lot of national pub, and they haven't had a lot of national pub in a long time. Last year they got a little bit at the beginning of the season because of how good Jaden Daniels in the offense was, but their defense was god-awful, and that kind of went away pretty quickly as the season went on. Since 2019, LSU hasn't had a top 10 matchup in Tiger Stadium since 2019, right? That shows you that they haven't been very good or consistent in those 5 years since then, 5 years. And they have an opportunity right now to put themselves back in the middle of the national football conversation by being at home, beating an Ole Miss team that has a lot of hype behind it, and putting themselves right back in the middle of the college football conversation. Schedule is going to continue to get harder and harder as the season goes on, but this is a big game, not only for this year, but for the national landscape of college football. And I'm with you. I think that there is 3 weeks ago, after we're watching LSU and all the stuff they're doing, you're like, damn, they got no shot. I feel like Ole Miss is going to come in here, and then all of a sudden LSU starts getting a little bit better. I'm saying not me, but like that was kind of the conversation around everybody watching both teams. Like, damn, Ole Miss is blowing everybody out the water. LSU can't stop anybody. They can't even stop Nicholls State from scoring 21 points. The general public watching it without knowing what's going on, seeing it a few weeks ago, is like, I don't think LSU's got a shot. Then you kind of see LSU make some improvements. They go out there, they post a 0 on the scoreboard against UCLA in the second half. Wasn't a perfect game. Second half they look better. Then they go against South Alabama.
Play their most complete game.
That was probably their most complete game. So you feel like you start Kentucky and not do the things that they've been doing. And so then you're like, okay, you feel it. Then you watch them play against South Carolina. And yeah, they did beat them by a lot, but you really look deep into it. You're like, okay, you feel like you can compete with them athlete for athlete, and definitely offense for offense. And I think our defense is a lot better than they're going to give it credit for. And their offense isn't, I don't think, as good as they're getting credit for, right? They don't have their running back, right? Judkins is at Ohio State running everybody over.
He's not playing there.
Huh?
He's not even playing there.
I saw him last week. He was playing.
Did he play?
Aren't they like splitting carries?
I think he's playing. He's not the feature back, but yeah, he's playing.
But in all of Lane Kiffin's offenses, he loves to have a guy in the backfield that can run when he needs to, right? He's had that with Judkins. They don't really have that this year. Jackson.
I mean, they got it. He's just not very physical.
Right.
It's a reincarnation of Dexter McCluster, basically.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, like, they have it. They don't have that physical aspect to them on offense.
And they're
going to try to finesse you. They're going to try to outrun you. They're going to try to speed, snap everything quick. If you can kind of get them off that game, it makes it really tough for them to do what they want to do.
And Trey Harris obviously is their guy, right? He said 50-plus catches. If you slow him down, or you make it difficult for Jackson Dart to get him the ball, you saw it last week. You saw it in a couple weeks. If you stop him, you have an opportunity for Jackson Dart maybe to hold on to the football just a little longer, and the defensive line to get to him. LSU strength, defensive line, front seven. I like that matchup. I think that they can kind of wreck the game with some of those sacks and forcing, 3rd and 8s, sacking them on 3rd and 8, making it, 4th and 15, getting the punt, or sack fumbles. Or, hey, 2nd and 6, they're going to try to do something in the passing game, boom, sack them. Now it's 3rd and 15, and be able to get them off the field that way. So I think LSU matches up pretty well with them. I'm pretty excited about it. Hot ticket. Like, impossible ticket right now. I've been trying to search for tickets for some buddies that are coming in, their wives, for a month. Nobody wants to come off their tickets.
LSU Ole Miss?
Pretty crazy.
This has been the game that's been
Pretty
circled
wild.
for the entire year, I would imagine. Even after the USC lost, I feel like everybody kind of fast-forwarded to...
As with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
I
he
think
could
he's
be
doing this
lying.
on purpose.
Yeah.
Right? I think he's giving too much comfort, too much information about the injury for me to think that it's... He comes out and he basically says, we don't really get into much detail on that. And he finished first half and wasn't close to coming in the second half. He certainly wouldn't be playing today. So we have to have other guys ready, and we have to perform better than we did in the second half when we scored 3 points. Now, we only threw one pass in the fourth quarter, blah, blah, blah. He basically is, we're preparing to play without him.
Yeah. I would be preparing to get you to try to game plan for anything else but the guy that I want to give the ball to.
Right,
all day.
exactly.
I'd be trying to do that too. So,
No
I
doubt.
mean, it makes sense.
So for me, listening to that, I think he's playing. I think he's going to play, right? Is he going to be 100%? I don't know, but he's going to be good. He's going to be a factor. Got to stop him. That's the number one priority of the defense. Jared, you had some suggestions maybe, and not something that you want to throw out there, but if they can handle it, I think it could potentially be a good.
I just mentioned him. I
yeah.
said if you can find ways to start bracketing him, blanketing him, getting in his face, kind of putting hands on him, not giving him free access off the line of scrimmage a little bit, that's going to be tough because if you can kind of start messing with the rhythm and the timing of Jackson Dart and him, because if you watch them play a little bit, Jackson Dart is not afraid to hitch one, hitch twice, and be still looking at him and not actually go through progressions. And then once he does that, his head's down, his eyes down, he tucks it and he runs a lot. If you can kind of start beating him up at the line and kind of getting them off a little bit, you got a chance because I do like our ability to run to the football, right, after like in those situations, whereas I think this is a gettable team. They're not as good. When you get them on film and you look at the numbers that they put up this year and the scores that they've put up this year, I'm not blown away as much as I am watching the film of what I see there. Like, to me,
Right.
those two things don't match. And to me, that's what showed up when you played Kentucky. Like you said, right? They finally played a good team, a team that could kind of challenge them a little bit, and they couldn't even put 20 up on the board. So, a little bit kind of marrying that thing. They go to South Carolina last week. They played a really good game. Hats off to them. You give them their respect, right? They went in there and they took care of business after getting their asses kicked last week at home. This is when it comes down to, hey, here's your real test right now. Because the last time you came here, you got run off the field. You got blown out. You didn't even score in the second half, right? So, that's another situation where you look, and I think this is a very good test, obviously, for LSU. But this is a chance to kind of put yourself on the map right here.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think that if you look at what Kentucky did, right, you don't want to use that as a blueprint because every game is its own game. Like, every game's different. Every team has different personnel, different schemes, different, cultures or, different identities as a team. But if you look at that game and you say, okay, what does Ole Miss do really well? Obviously, offensively, they want to go fast. They want to get you kind of discombobulated, and they want to move, stay ahead of the change, stay in rhythm, do those types of things. And then you look up in the end of the second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, everybody's hands on the hips because they're exhausted, because they're running around like they're on a soccer field, right? And then Ole Miss just kind of takes the game away and just runs away with it. What Kentucky did was they didn't allow them to do that. They kept them behind the sticks. They didn't allow.
They
Ole
dictated
Miss,
the fight.
Exactly. They didn't allow Ole Miss to have the pace that they wanted, and it slowed it down, and Ole Miss doesn't do good with that.
Yeah.
Right? We saw that 2 years ago when they came in there and they started off super fast, and you're like, oh, shit, this is not going to be good. And then LSU would calm them down, was able to score with them, got some stops, and then all of a sudden flipped it, and then
Harold Perkins.
Seemingly it's like one of those things where to be able to go fast, to be able to play with that kind of pace is great. But when that is your fastball, that's when it becomes tough. And I think that's where this Ole Miss team is where if they're able to play ahead of the chains, they're able to hit you with all these RPOs, they're able to get you on your heels a little bit, and they're able to get you tired. When it's not that, they don't have and they don't want to be able to have to play and kind of go in these third and longs and really have to start. And look, no one does. That's obvious. My point is I don't think they're great at it because I don't think the quarterback is going to go through the progressions. I don't think the other guys behind Trey Harris is really the guy. I don't think they have that in there.
Yeah.
And so, that's where this thing kind of becomes tricky for them. And I think when you get this team kind of punching in the mouth a little bit, they're not very good at responding back to it.
No doubt. And the secondary is their biggest question mark, right? That's what's going to happen? I think the front seven, the front four in particular, is going to be their best friend, hopefully, in this game as far as getting pressure, right? And if Jackson Dart wants to get the ball out quick, Jackson Dart's not a huge dude. We talked about it in the first game against USC, getting the hand up, maybe having some batted balls, tip some balls up in the air. They did it 2 or 3 times against USC first game of the season, and they probably almost had 2 interceptions because of it. I think they can kind of wreck some of the rhythm that way, and then not letting a little Dexter McCluster clone kind of get going, right? And it's not necessarily in between the tackles, but those little gimmicky run plays. You don't want to give them big chunk plays in that.
Well, he'll run between the tackles. He's got a little bit of. They'll run with him like LSU has run with Caden Durham since he's been in.
Yeah.
They'll do it. The thing is that body is not going to take the pounding.
Right.
He's not going to keep taking that. So that's the person you need to hit, and you need to make him feel it, and you need to make him do it, and you need to do it over and over and over again. And that just is what it is.
And over and over
What are your
and
thoughts,
over
Lloyd?
again. I have a question for you and you, both of you.
Okay.
Yes.
You saw the Kentucky game and how they kind of dictated the fight in terms of you're trying to play keep away from Ole Miss. You saw LSU last year against Ole Miss try to play a track meet and essentially you lost the 4x1,
Right.
and you lost in the last 100 meters. Does LSU have the ability to kind of play keep away? Because Kentucky is built that way. I don't know if LSU was built to be.
You're on
Yeah.
that, and I don't think that.
I know, but I want to be
I don't
talked
think
out
you-
of it.
Well, I did.
You
We
don't
talked
need to
to you.
play
I don't
keep
think you have
away.
to play keep away with them. Like they're not playing keep away is with a team.
I've just seen it work.
My point is go look at LSU offensively this year and look at what they've done. They can play with anybody offensively. You don't need to play keep away from them, right? And I don't think that that's where they're going to be. This defense is not defense of last year. They're not the 100th worst defense in the country.
They're going to get some stops.
They're going to get some stops. They're going to make some plays. They're going to put some pressure on you. They're going to force you to do some things you don't want to do. I don't think this is a team that needs to quote-unquote play keep away. You need to play your game. And if you're able to play 4 quarters, much like you did against South Alabama, I think you're in a great spot against this club.
Because I do think LSU can be methodical without trying to play keep away with the decision
Well, that's what they've been doing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it hasn't been. It's going to lead me to my next question because the curious case of Chris Hilton pops up once again with the injury report. It says it feels like this is the game
I will
that's been
say
circled.
this. And look, I will say this. If he doesn't play this game,
I don't think
know
he'll
if
play all year.
I don't know if he's going to play all year.
Circle Alabama.
No, I mean, he had a bye week, and I'm not saying he's not hurt. I'm just saying, if he doesn't play, it just seems like it's going to be more.
I don't, at this point, without a tear, without a surgery, without a broken bone, I'm not exactly sure how you're still out at this point. I just don't. I don't. Really
And look,
know.
and if it's worse than
I
everybody
don't
thought,
know.
that's fine. I just don't.
My point is
not gonna
what
play.
would make it worse? Then
Right, I don't
if there's no real tear, there's no what would make it worse?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
So I don't even have I don't know where to go with the conversation if he's not playing this.
And I do think the report kind of was probably misleading when you say bone bruise. It doesn't sound like a broken bone. It doesn't sound like an injury that people can really comp anything to. So if you don't feel 100%, and if Chris Hilton's one thing that he does extremely well, probably in the top 1%, is go fast. And if he doesn't feel like he can do that, then I'm going to hold myself out until I can do that because I don't want to re-injure myself. So I get it from that perspective. But at this point in the year, when it happened in camp.
But say I don't want to re-injure myself. At this point in the year, we're 6 weeks away.
Right.
From when you stopped being active, if you will. So what more time do we need? That's all.
Time heals all wounds.
I'm just asking. I don't really know. I don't know the injury. I don't know. We don't have enough information.
That's what I'm saying. I think
about
it was kind of I don't want to say misreported, but it felt like it was kind of a ho-hum bone bruise, and then it's lasted this long to where you never really got any injury updates on it after that. So that's why I think it's kind of painted in a negative light because we haven't gotten any update other than he's out.
Right.
And it keeps being probable.
Hey, look, okay, so what was your question? I didn't mean to cut you off.
I wonder if that changes the way LSU plays a little bit, where you feel like as Nussmeier has been able to kind of dink and dunk and been very efficient, if it's that one element where you're like, okay, this is changing the way LSU wants to play football.
I don't think it changed the way they want to play. I just think it gives them an added dimension.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to say, oh, we got him in there, and now all of a sudden we're just going to start throwing the ball deep. No. I think now you just have that added bonus to the offense that's already been efficient.
I do think if he's in there, though, he opens up a ton of
sure.
these in cuts and these over routes and all that stuff. I think a lot of that stuff will start opening up even more. And hopefully you can start using him not just on that, but some of these like crossing routes in these man situations and allowing him to run and circle a field. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of these intermediate throws in my opinion that starts to open up if you bring him back into the fold.
I mean, people forget he was ranked above both Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors in the recruiting class. Like, he was the 5-star wide receiver in that class.
Look, nobody's doubting his ability.
No, but and I'll say this just because I saw it in camp whenever we went to practice. Like, he wasn't just they wasn't just a go route guy. Like, they were using him in a multitude of ways.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's
right.
You no longer, and I'm not saying like, oh, he's the one that's opening it up by running the decoy routes. Someone could be opening it up for him. Like, all these things could be going on, but I do think the immediate stuff, the intermediate stuff becomes much more open, and there's more of a bevy of things you can go to when he comes back into the fold. It's one more. That's one more that you got people getting on their heels because they don't want him getting on top, and it just helps you out.
Big game for Mason Taylor. Might get to that road to 1K.
Big game for Mason Taylor.
Put up 100.
I think. Listen to me. I don't think the issue is going to be the offense.
No.
I'm excited to see the offense grow with Caden Durham behind in the backfield. Right now, obviously, we haven't gotten any information on him.
He's 8 toes down. Not 10 toes down. We're 8 toes down.
What?
2 dislocated toes.
Right. How's the
dislocated?
How's the dislocation going? How's it working? Is it better?
He practiced. So
that's a good sign.
He's not Puka Williams. That man had 6 toes, and 4 of them were gone. And so if you can play with that, I think you can play with 2 dislocated. Get a little buddy tape.
I don't think we need to worry about the offense, but I am excited to see what it looks like. They've obviously had a couple more weeks. Caden Durham seems like he's going to solidify himself as a number 1. He's going to be in there. You felt like with his added dimension in the second half, really, or in the South Carolina game, and then what he did last game, it feels like the offense is a different beast when you have that. Talk about the over-the-top and the added dimension of adding Chris Hilton. Having an explosive running back and have the ability to do that also expands the offense, and I think the offense is in great shape. The defense is the biggest question, obviously. That's going to be the matchup that everybody's looking for. Ole Miss's offense versus LSU's defense. Ole Miss's defense has been good too now, right? But I think LSU's offense is good enough and going to be on that.
You can match. You need I think it'll come down to LSU defensively, and with the addition of Blake Baker, I think they've been fine. Like, other people are kind of blowing it out of proportion. The numbers are clearly better, and the way that they're able to create turnovers has kind of been the calling card for LSU. Like, you'll give up like the run fits and the bust and whatever. I'm interested to see what kind of lineup they come out with. Brian Kelly talked last week and said they're working Toviano in at the star, which gives them the ability to put Major Burns at safety.
Do we want that?
That's what.
Is that something we want?
I think Major Burns is going to be out there regardless, because he's somebody that, regardless of what people think of him or how he performs, he does one thing great.
I'm not saying. I'm asking a question.
Yeah, no, he does one thing great. He gets everybody organized. He is somebody that, like, he knows the defense. Yeah. So I think that's why he's always out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the only thing I really don't love him in is like man-to-man situations.
Yeah,
like, that's it. Like, he's obviously a really good player. He's super experienced. He knows the defense. He can make the calls. He can actually be the quarterback on that side of the defense. So, like, I'm fine with him in those situations.
It's like when he gets schemed up one-on-one in pass coverage, which Lane Kiffin will try to do.
And I expect him to try to do, right? And that's why I said, like, maybe if you're able to find a way to not have that happen, and what they've done this year, better than what we honestly thought they would be able to do this year, and what people, like you said, are not giving them credit for, is they have caused havoc in the backfield, and they have created pressure, and they've found ways to get sacks. They have done that really well this year, and I think this is the game you're going to need that stuff to shine even brighter than it has shined so far this year as well.
I mean, first real home game.
Yeah.
Like,
it is.
Like, UCLA was fun, but it was in 2:30 and it was hot as hell. And
2:30 in September.
Hey, and the weather.
Oh.
Have you looked at the weather?
No, but tell me.
The low of 59.
Oh.
I think it's going up maybe to 60 or 61 now.
Sounds like a Fred's night.
High of 83, low of 61. That means there's probably not going to be a ton of humidity, right? It's supposed to be nice and sunny, unless it's changed over the last couple of days.
And there's a hurricane coming.
Well, not us. Not towards us.
Straight to Jacksonville.
Straight to Tampa.
Tampa. 5-star hurricane.
Yeah.
Derek.
5-star. That's what they call it? 5-star?
That's
Cat
how I look
5.
at it, yeah.
Weather's going to be nice. People are going to be out there tailgating. It's a hot ticket. It's a lot of energy.
Whiskey day.
Great day. Maybe
Mikey's only telling you he's a hot ticket and he's going to be in the game, so he just wants to let you know he's in the game.
Yeah, I'm going.
That's the only reason he's telling you this.
Well, I may not be in the game. Can't find other tickets.
Check his social media on Saturday. He'll be in the game. Don't let him fool you right now.
I got to find tickets for other people, too.
Yeah, he'll sponsor a post and get
some tickets. Don't let him fool you right now.
I'm working.
He'll be in the game.
I know how you operate.
Everybody's got a text message from me. obviously paying for them. I asked for free tickets, but everyone's gotten one.
Everybody's like, no, I'm good. I'm holding.
I'm working on it for you. Okay, cool. Need it. Gotta have it.
Got to.
Big promises. Can't fall on my face.
How many are you trying to get?
4.
Oof.
It's a hot ticket if you didn't know.
Yeah.
This
It's
weekend's
tough.
hot.
Weather's nice, though.
Weather's gonna be great. May have to be game time decision too.
There's-
we may be searching day of the game.
The funniest thing, though, is like where you are, like, oh, sorry, I couldn't do it. I'm going. Sucks for you.
Honestly-
Try my best.
Honestly, Allie probably wouldn't let me do that.
Oh,
If I don't get them
Mikey,
tickets,
if you don't go,
if I don't get them
we have
tickets,
to have a real
if
conversation.
I don't get them tickets, I'm gonna be screwed for the game.
Tell you what.
Well, then give 'em that's not how it works.
tell you what. I would
you
put a
going?
lot of money. I would put a lot of money on it that Mikey's in the stadium.
I'm gonna
No
get,
doubt.
I'm
Come
gonna get,
hell or high water Saturday night.
I'm gonna get them tickets too.
Just a lot
I'm
more
gonna
walks
make it,
at-
I'm gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it happen. No doubt about it.
Are you going? That's the real test.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Never knows.
We'll see.
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
I'm gonna get them tickets. No doubt. Did Brian Kelly have an espresso today?
Oh yeah. Do you want somebody? Let me grab.
Do we
some of
have
these.
anything? Did he
Yeah,
say
I can
anything
get
good?
it real quick.
I mean, you know.
There was just a couple of injury updates that came through the wire, but it was nothing. He's not really saying anything as of yet, but he talked about 2 of the freshmen, both Caden Durham and Deshaun Spears, which I think people should be expecting a little bit more from. Look, they ran out 3 to 4 different safety rotations during the game against USA, where it feels like they're still looking. They're searching for what's the best combination, but he said last week that that's not going to happen. Like when we get to conference play and it's SEC, like we're going to have 2 guys that we expect to rely on. So I do think Deshaun Spears should be in that number. I think he's played. Probably he has the most upside of any of them. But
Well, we're not playing on upside, Coach.
I think it's the lesser
Who's
of 2
ready now?
evils. Yeah,
we,
I think
we
he
need,
might be.
We need people to be able to do the job. Now, we can't play on upside. If we're playing on upside, I can tell you right now they're going to lose by 10. Like we're not playing on upside.
But that's the battle that they've been going back and forth. I'll let Brian Kelly tell you.
No. I'm just saying, I guarantee you, whoever they're putting out there, they're not playing them on upside. They're playing them on, I expect you to be able to do the assignment, play in and play out. Not just, man, if it all goes right, he plays this, he can go up and get it. No, they're not playing on upside.
All right, here's Brian Kelly talking about the 2 freshmen.
The game from a perspective of you still have to be able to play it as if you were in high school. And so what I mean by that is you still have to play fast. You can't overanalyze this game. And I think when you're young, you have a tendency to take in too much information, and it slows you down. And both of those guys and their talent, they have to let their talent speak for themselves. Now, it doesn't mean you forget all your teachings and you don't trust what you've been taught, but there has to be that end of, I need to go play, and I need to let it go. And I think the bye week or the off week allows them to kind of look at it and say, you know what, I know what I'm doing. I've been coached. I have the technique down. Now I just need to let it go. And I think that that's the opportunity for them in the past week.
What everybody knows, right? Like, and what everybody's the biggest issue about freshmen is you don't want them running around like with chicken with their head cut off and flying around, not knowing where they're going, right? Because that's detrimental to the defense. But you also don't want them overthinking things and saying, well, I got to make sure I'm in the right spot, and then not using their athleticism. And I think his point is they've done this over the course of the first 5 weeks of the season and the bye week to kind of get a feel for that. That's what those games are for, right? You play the big game in the first game of the season, but all the games leading up to this is to try to figure out who your best 11 are on defense for the SEC play. And I think that with him saying that, I think he's got some confidence in these guys that they do understand it mentally and kind of where they're at and say, hey, this is him saying, hey, look, trust y'all's ability. Go out there and play. Like, you're coached up. We're confident in you feeling that you know where you're supposed to be. Go let it fly type thing. At least that's what I got from that.
It's not just a young in the sense of freshman and or whatever classification you are. It is when you don't have the reps and you don't have the experience, you do have a tendency to play slower. Mentally, you think through things as opposed to just knowing where you're supposed to be and just playing fast, moving, because everything kind of comes quicker. I can tell you right now, the way I ran routes as a freshman was a way different way than I ran routes as a junior. You play faster. You just know it. You're no longer counting steps. You're no longer counting this. You're no longer looking through this as much. You're just playing. You see it quicker. You react quicker. You play faster, right? And that's what he's wanting these guys to get to. So if they've been able to do a good job of coaching them up and moving them along and helping them and pushing them, sometimes it does. If you're able to sit them down in a bye, we can be like, hey, I want you to stop thinking a little bit less. I want you to start playing a little bit faster. You're good. You're good enough. You're doing this well. You know this stuff well. We've tested you on it. We've talked about it. If you're able to do those things and you get to them, then you start playing the guys that are more talented in those situations, because the talent will play when you actually start playing fast.
Yeah, so, I mean, to me, it feels like he's got confidence in these guys going out there and doing what they need to do. Obviously, confidence in their abilities, but confidence in them mentally being able to put it all together. Which is exciting, right? Having the two of the top freshmen that you need out there in positions that are much needed to go out there and step up, I think that's going to be good. You're going to see some freshman linebackers out there too. I think you mentioned that too.
And then I have one more clip of him talking about, he's talking about not wanting to be in a shootout, as you saw last year, where he thinks that the defense is a little bit better in terms of we don't have to play that style of football anymore.
Those questions are, assuming that you have, strengths on either side of the ball. I mean, I've always felt as a head coach, you're trying to keep the points down, right? And you're going to do whatever's necessary to score touchdowns. But you're presented with the team that you have. And last year, clearly we were tilted one side, and we had to play, unfortunately, the game that way. I didn't like it, but that's what we had. And so we were in a situation last year where we were trying to outscore, and it's not the right way to play. It was the only way to play. I think there's much more balance in our football team, and we don't want to play that way. We want to play good defense. We want to keep the points down, and we want to score appropriately. So if you're asking the question relative to how it fits, each and every week, we don't want it to be a shootout. We want to play the appropriate level of defense that allows us to run our offense, that protects and plays complementary football.
I mean, I can't disagree with that.
I think what he just literally told us is that he feels comfortable in the run game that they found and their ability to actually move the ball on the ground and not have to basically play it through the air and only push it and have to say, hey, the only way we win today is if we put up 40, or we don't really have a chance to win.
And today. I think, and on the other side of that, I think what he said is, I have confidence in the improvement of our defense. Like, I have confidence in our defense doing the things necessary for them to do to be able to keep their points down, right? Are they going to be perfect? No. But
don't give up 55 this time.
We're not giving up 55 points. And if we do, we deserve to lose. I mean, that's the way it goes. I mean,
55,
what did we
49.
score last year? 48?
49. Gave up 21 on the fourth.
That can't happen.
No, but I think, and you go back even 2 years to 2022, where it was before half, Ole Miss was running the numbers up on you.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they've been able to find success against LSU, and Lane Kiffin and Brian Kelly have had their back and forth throughout the year, but Lane always picks one where he feels like, all right, this is my target for the year, after, especially with Saban gone, where he's been kind of threading the needle a little bit with Brian Kelly about the Coca-Cola conversation and all of these things. So this one weighs heavy on Lane's mind. I think he wants to beat LSU.
But usually when those happen, Lane, it doesn't turn out great for him.
That's because he's sober.
Here is the in this thing feeling like, or came into that game feeling like he needed to go for every fourth down and needed to gamble at every opportunity to gamble. I'm not saying that he doesn't believe that this team is good enough, but will he put himself in that situation because they lost to USC, because of the rest of the season that they have in front of them, because that we're looking at, hey, if you lose more than two, you're possibly putting yourself out of the playoff situation.
Right.
Will he play it the same way? Because we've seen him come into these situations where it's big games and the decisions be real dicey at the end of the day. Is he going to do that again?
Well, and that's been Brian Kelly's biggest
thing,
right? Since Notre Dame, he can't win the big ones. He always gets close, but especially here at LSU, he hasn't done it yet. He beat Alabama, right? Big game that.
And look at what he did to beat Alabama. Went for 2 in a spot where not many people would think that that's what you should do.
Right. Yeah. And that was, I think at that time, obviously, it was the way the game was going. But, there's other things. There's other things that he has done in the past, or look at what South Carolina did, forcing issues. I think, to Jared's point, is he going to do that? I don't think that's the play. I don't think he has to do that. I think, in my head, based off listening to that quote, he doesn't feel like he has to do that based off of
No. He feels his team is better. That's what I'm saying. But you lost one already. You still do have a tough schedule. So one more loss is going to be tough.
You got one more ace.
So are you going to trust that team that you have?
Yeah.
And are you going to play it, quote unquote, straight up?
Yeah.
You don't have to go into this game. We don't have to be on the 35 in the first quarter punting and fake punting from our own 35. Play the game, punt the ball, put the defense back out there.
I think we're going to see pretty early on, first quarter, how the vibe of the game is going, how the rhythm of the game is going, on what he's feeling, right? Because I think there's going to be an opportunity early in the game, no doubt, where there's
1,000%.
There's going to be a play, on the 50, fourth and 3, 4th and 4, not a gimmick 4th and 1, okay, 4th and 3, 4th and 4. Is he going to go for it? Almost to the point where it's we haven't really even gotten into the rhythm yet. Is he going to punt it or is he not going to punt it? It's going to be interesting to see. And look, if he goes for it and they get it, great, right? If they punt it and it works out, great.
It's a result.
You can't
but the thing is,
who knows?
2 years ago when Tennessee came here, it wasn't just one. It was 1, 2, and 3 that all went wrong.
No doubt.
And that's what you don't want. Because one time, okay, whatever. But when you continue to force it,
what did he go for? It was 4th and 10 or something.
It was a feud.
Yeah.
The game was over at halftime, and
that's why.
In my mindset, it was because there were so many of those we just didn't get.
There was a couple head scratch 4th and 10 or 4th. It was 4th and 8. Why would we do that? Why would we not? Why would we go for it on that one? I can understand a 4th and 1, 4th and 2 on on the other side of the 50.
I left the first half of that game really thinking he truly doesn't believe that this team has a chance to beat that Tennessee team.
Right.
That's what I felt.
That's what I was going to say. Is it felt, and that's what I wonder. I don't think he has that same feeling for this LSU.
I don't feel like he has the same feeling for this LSU team.
Right.
But does he have that same feeling for this LSU situation right now?
And
that's the question.
Because he's proven, you can't get mad at him if he does it, because he's proven, this is what I've done all, my career at LSU at least, where he's gone for it multiple times, and it's something that, hey, I'm going to take the football first, which is something that makes no sense at all, but hey, that's what I do. And we're going to try to go down and score 7 points, and then game on. But if he does that in that same situation where they win the toss and say, all right, we'll want the football, that's when you get into, okay, you wanted the football, now do you want to force the issue and try to score, and played that South Carolina game where it South Carolina took themselves out that football game.
Yeah.
And that's what you don't want LSU to do.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We're going to see, obviously, the conversation is going to ramp up as the week ramps up.
We're talking about it all.
we're talking about it now. This is kind of just the appetizer of this conversation. As the week goes on, we'll have, guests in studio talking more about what's going on behind the scenes, kind of preparation, what they're trying to do, what we need to see, game planning. More talk about the Ole Miss team. But, we can't do it all at once. We got other things we got to talk about. Let's recap a little bit of the college football weekend.
Real quick, just on this Tennessee LSU game, I'm looking up from 2022. In the first quarter alone, they were down 7-0, 10-0, 13-0, and then they go 7 plays, 20 yards, go for it, don't get it. 1 play, 45 yards, touchdowns for Tennessee. Next possession, 6 plays, punt. Tennessee punts it back to you. LSU scores. You go for it again and don't get it. They went for it 3 times in the first quarter on 4th down and didn't get it any of them.
And they were only down by 2 possessions.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make it. You ran yourself out of a game that you should have still been in.
And this is after you gave a possession back with Jack Besh on the return, where you gave it to him inside the 10.
Yep.
They score in 4 plays, 8 yards, get a field goal. You're still right there.
Right.
And instead you go for it. That's what I'm saying. Brian Kelly does have the ability to make these decisions, and that's what happens when you have a 10-year contract. You really don't. It's my ass isn't on the line, but he also wants to go for it because there's games that you get in where you feel like you can't.
Yeah, but you say 10-year contract, your ass and all. I get that. But he's a competitor, and he's not just throwing games away. I'll be honest with you.
he's got a better team this year than he ever has
Yep.
since he's been here.
Yeah.
But he ain't getting fired this year. But his ass is on the line in the sense of 10 win.
Gotta do something and keep improving.
People want to see improvement, and they don't want to just see 10 and or less. You're getting to a point in the season where, hey, you can fall into less if you make a couple too many mistakes at this point. So I do think he sees that and understands that, and is like, I don't really want anything less than 10 at this point. And obviously, we know he wants more than 10.
Right.
But I guess finishing this season at 9-3, 8-4, that's a huge failure.
Yeah.
It is.
I agree.
And I don't think he wants any part of that right now.
I agree.
What's their biggest home win aside from Alabama and Brian Kelly's tenure?
Ole Miss, probably.
Ole Miss that year. They were top 10 at that point when they came
I
out.
think they were 7th in the country.
Yeah,
at that
6th or
time.
7th in the country at that time.
And
Yeah.
then they rattled off 4 straight losses after
And then
3
after that,
straight.
we just kind of
Because everybody points to the Alabama game. I was just wondering if these are the moments that your career is defined on, because this is what everybody remembers.
Yeah, the big
everybody's
games.
going to be at that game.
You
Hottest
don't-
ticket in town.
Hottest ticket in town. It is. But you have to win the big ones, right? If you want to do, if
That's
you
what
want to
you're
get,
judged on.
if you want to get to where you want to get, and you want to win, you get to the playoffs and be the coach that everybody. If you want to get that conversation on, I don't really know if I like Brian Kelly, or is Brian Kelly the right guy for it. If you want to just end that conversation, win the big games. Then everybody's gonna love you, right? That's just the way it works. You win, nobody's gonna have anything to say. And so I think he knows that, and I think he's gonna do the things necessary to win. I just hope that he doesn't try to force it. It just needs to let it come to you. You know?
Yeah. It's all on the hips.
Speaking of letting it come to you,
Oh.
that Alabama Vanderbilt game, boy, Diego was just fucking doing it, wasn't he?
Legacy game.
I mean,
Grinder.
they were in for 150 yards against Alabama.
Doesn't happen.
He was throwing dimes down the field, and it was like they got up early, interception for a touchdown, right? I think they're up 23-7. And you're like, okay, like I get it. You know, it's not going to be that way the whole game. Then it was 23-21. You're like, oh,
Here it comes.
here it comes, right? Because historically, teams like Vanderbilt aren't teams to be able to extend leads. They get out, they have this like flash in the pan, early start. Maybe the good team is kind of sleeping a little bit. Some bad things happen, good bounces. You get this big lead, and you're just holding on for dear life and just hoping they don't score enough to beat you, because it's hard to extend. Vanderbilt extended it, right? Vanderbilt's up 23-21. They go out and they have a response touchdown drive. Then they go up, and then Alabama scores again. Then they score again, and then they have the opportunity to have the ball and run the clock out. They kneel it to end the game. Like, how wild is that?
See, like, you're talking about the response scores and how they did this. To me, when I look at the game and I just go through the box score, which is easy to go through, there's two things that stick out. There's two things that stick out to me. One, they obviously finished the game. Not obviously. They finished the game with more total yards than Alabama. The second one, the time of possession war, Vandy had the ball for 42 minutes and Alabama.
Third and short all game.
That's
And
not
they
we had to pull something
No.
out. We had to do something crazy to beat you. We welcomed you into the crib, and we whooped your ass, and we sent you home. That's what they did.
Crib was under construction, too.
Is it still
Yeah.
still under construction 2 years later?
Still got blue tarps. They don't
Holy
matter.
shit.
there was cranes in
You
the
think
background.
they're going to speed that process up now they got a couple wins?
I would imagine.
I mean, they should just let the crane take the whole thing downtown. They already had the crane out there.
That
They should
was
just take the goalpost
unbelievable
to the crane.
scene. I mean, probably one of the few things that could have stunted the Cal game day performance, where McAfee had them eating out the palm of his
I didn't
hand.
get to watch it.
Oh,
I know.
It's almost worth like going back and just.
I
looking
did.
at-
I went
yeah.
back and looked at clips. Was Marshawn Lynch great?
He was smoking a blunt in the commercial break. At the
I didn't see him
steps.
on game day, but I did see him on the show on Friday, and I think he was on the show for like 45
He
minutes.
was.
There was probably 17 minutes of it you could actually hear because the rest of it was bleeped out. It was the funniest
Really?
thing ever. It was so great. Marshawn don't care,
man.
dog.
How about the dude making the field goal?
In Vans.
That was
I'm telling
great.
Kick
Those
too.
California kids can kick. We saw it at UCLA. That punter was booming them.
That was
That's
great.
What, they got soccer players over there, and great signs. But they busted down
Great
the gate
signs.
to get there. They weren't supposed to let anybody in until 3 a.m. They kicked the gates down at 1 a.m. and just started waiting in line. Like, Cal was there to do it. This is the most fun I've had watching game day, probably since like peak like Lee Corso.
It's great. I mean,
And that's all Pat.
no doubt. He's brought the energy. Saban's been a great addition.
He's
right?
loosened up.
He's
Saban
got Kirk jumping around in a full suit and everything. It's
the
It's a party.
kicking competition, which they tried not to do. McAfee convinced them that they needed to do the kicking competition. They didn't think it was going to be last year before. They were kind of unsure, like, oh, kicking field goals, and it's like
Must see
highlight.
TV.
It's the highlight of game day,
Yeah.
right? Because they allow, and Kirk's been great. He's kind of ragging on these kids a little bit. Like McAfee does the whole thing. Oh, you suck, like those types of things, and like it's been great.
It's been
Game days. Game day is now must watch TV again.
because it got boring.
Yeah,
like
it did.
before,
It
like,
did.
and I'll
It's
give
ticking up.
Yeah, and like, there's one person you could point to because he goes into every game day wherever they are. Like, he learns all the chants, knows what the school wants to say, and he plays to the crowd. But he's better than anybody I've ever seen.
That's what he does. That's
It's
his best.
so
That's his best asset.
Like,
That's
those people
exactly
are
what he
there to
does.
participate. He's doing a full-on
And
rock
if
concert.
you get a chance to watch it, dude, just find yourself locking into Nick Saban's face at random times. You ain't never seen that man smile as much as he's smiling when he sits next to Pat on Saturdays. It's the funniest
He's
thing.
having so much fun.
Oh, man,
changed
it's funny.
ties.
It's funny.
They
That
gave
was
him a cow
crazy.
tie, and then like somebody threw it from the stands. He's like, "I'll put it on."
That's
Like, all right,
wild.
Nick.
I like that. Him and Belichick, the two people you never thought were going to loosen up, both loosen up. Belichick's got himself a nice young girlfriend. He's on TV a lot. He's talking it up.
He's angling for a job.
No doubt.
He wants Jacksonville or he
not.
wants Dallas.
He's still working.
Yeah.
Bill's still working.
Oh yeah. Putting out a lot of content
Gotta
about how
show you
smart
there's
I
more
am.
than just me. I got
Here's
a lot
what
of
I would
sides
do
to
with
it.
one of the most talented rosters in the NFL.
you- Did you watch the Arkansas-Tennessee game?
Not as much.
I didn't watch it as much as I wanted to watch it. Ramsey, Barfield, he had an engagement party that night, so I had to do that.
Ramsey always disappoints.
But
Any
I watched it on my
decision you
phone at the
have-
end. It was great.
He always makes the wrong one. It feels like.
But that was another, like, we talked about Arkansas, kind of quarterback, kind of dangerous. I don't think we've given enough credit to their defense because their defense put the clamps on Tennessee.
They did. They play well. I think I referenced that you may not be seeing the best of Nico this early, and I think that's obviously because he's a freshman still. Right?
Right, of
He's
course.
still young, so there's still some things he's learning. As he goes forward, he's obviously going to get better, but this was a situation where a team came in with a great game plan defensively, and they were able to stifle him, kind of get him off his game a little bit. I think they only threw for like 150, almost
Yeah,
160 yards. Yeah, they play well defensively, and you saw their good defenses. Their defense is legit, right? To be able to go on the road and play that way and do what they did, their defense is legit. Now you need to see if you're Tennessee, if you're that side of, you need to see that kid, that offense, kind of take the next step right now because we finally saw someone kind of rattle him, get to him a little bit, and we'll see where they go from here.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. How do they adjust? Tennessee's got to go. They got to play Florida.
He's coming off
this
a
week.
win.
Coming off a win, a double-digit win against UCF. Right? UCF is a team that had, I think they're like second in the country in rushing yards.
And Florida was 121 in rushes
And
against.
Florida held them to 108 yards rushing on 40 attempts, 2.7
They
yards.
tried
a
to
rush.
do it.
They ran the ball and they
Held
tried
is
to run it.
that's a loose term, but
What?
held. We'll say held.
What do you mean?
108 yards, we'll say held.
But
That's a
40
loose term.
At
attempts.
2.7 yards a carry, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean,
But that's it.
that's
UCF
holding
knew
them.
what they wanted to do, and Florida knew
But
what they
see,
wanted to do,
yeah,
too.
exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
we got 100, but, like, it wasn't 250.
You ran it 40 times for 2.7 clip. Like, they'd take that. A team that's running the ball for 250 yards a game, like, you're 100% going to take that. And especially Florida, who hasn't stopped the run at all, only gave up 13 points. They got to go to Tennessee. Obviously, Tennessee's coming off a loss. They're trying to do something. They're trying to rebound. Florida's coach is trying to save his job. Interesting game. But Billy football fights for another week.
I'm telling you, if he gets them boys bowl eligible, you'll be hard pressed to fire him. Like, a lot of people are, at least last week after the Ole Miss loss, were circling Lane Kiffin for that job, and they're looking at, I forgot who the other coach was, but there was two names that Florida wanted to see Ole Miss lose, so it would make it more enticing for him to come to Florida. I'm telling you, Billy keeps this up. He's got 80 people on the staff that you got to fire. Like, it's a big rehaul. It's a great It's a great maneuver
Oh,
by
look at
Billy.
Charles.
Every win is one more week. He keeps the real estate agent off his call log right now. So like this is important for him right now.
Real estate keeps going up. Appreciate it.
But he ain't trying to move.
Ain't trying to move.
Because I guarantee you,
He can
if
maybe
he's moving from this one, he's taking a step down.
Oh, no doubt. Maybe he's gonna refinance his house. Appreciate it. Just interest rates going down. He's gonna be in his house for
Maybe
a
get
little
a
bit.
second home.
Maybe he gets a second home.
Refinance.
Yeah. Look. Never mind. I'm not gonna say that. That's bad karma for the hurricane season. I don't want to say that. Maybe get some cheap waterfront property.
You could.
You know.
And if it washes away, the government ain't helping you.
Yeah. Apparently that's not happening. They don't care about you.
Not at
Your
all.
houses. Nope.
It's unfortunate.
Saints Chiefs kicking off right
Oh.
now.
How do we see this thing playing out? What do you see happening?
What a great transition.
You like that?
Yeah.
I like the Saints. Saints got the ball. The Saints. I don't know if they won or lost the coin toss, but they're starting with the ball.
I'll be honest with you. I think the Saints are getting them at the perfect.
I do too.
I do too.
I agree
perfect
with
time.
you.
And it's not for me. It ain't even really about the wins. It's just about like you got somebody like Rice that goes out, who's a huge part of that offense, right? Now you got to ask people to do. Remember, like what was it last year or the year before? 2 years ago, national championship, LSU's national championship baseball, right? Middle of the year when all these arms started dropping like flies, and all of a sudden the pitching staff is no longer good, right? And we kept talking about on the show where you're asking guys who were not supposed to have this kind of role have to start pitching and start chipping in a role that they were never ever slated to be in that year. That's what you're seeing with this offense right now. You're gonna have to have
Juwan
guys.
Johnson, welcome back.
And you got guys that's gonna have to start doing stuff that they never had to do before.
Yeah.
Saints are getting them at the perfect time, I think.
So here's an issue. Caesar Ruiz out for like 6 to 8 weeks.
Caesar lives here.
Shane Lemieux is out as well. Isn't that the guy that replaced him? So now you're on the third.
What do you think about these black helmets with the white uniforms?
I wish they would. I don't.
Why didn't they go
should do it
white?
All black.
I love the all black.
Yeah, the all white. Yeah.
Or the all white. I like the all black at home too.
Yeah, but I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's where I would wear that helmet.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh,
They
the all
don't.
black.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. You
I
made-
don't like this. I don't love this helmet with that.
Me either.
Yeah.
Do we think?
Shane Lemieux.
Do we? Oh, Lucas Patrick. That was the one who replaced him. I thought. Shane
Yeah,
Lemieux
they moved
got-
him to center.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was a guard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's right. We don't think Devontae's coming, huh? Don't love that. Oh my god.
I didn't think so at first.
Oh my god.
I think it's
Oh,
starting
you're
to get
ahead
a
of
little bit.
me. Oh no.
Oh my god.
I think it's starting
What
to
a
get
run
to be a little
by
bit more of an
Kamara.
opportunity that Devontae's coming out, just in the sense that
Uh,
if you look at what's going on with the Jets, like you watch the Jets, if the Jets don't win this year, good chance they're blowing it up. If they blow it up, he's stuck there again, and he don't have Aaron.
And that's what I was gonna say. Like, he doesn't want to go to a place if they're gonna restructure his contract, because they're talking about if he goes, you have to be able to restructure because he has too much guaranteed money for the next 2 years, right? And so if you restructure it, that means he's going to be on a team for multiple years. He doesn't want to get stuck again like he did in Las Vegas and not have his quarterback. Out of the two teams, who's going to be there presumably the longest? Derek Carr.
And
right?
now look, he just had the same thing happen, right? Derek Carr was where he was,
Right.
drafted team, they love him, blah, 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 and they blew that up. So that can happen too. He's probably got some scars from that too. But when you look at what's going on with the Jets, you're like, man, I really don't want to do that if Aaron ain't going to be there. Because he's in a spot, man, where he got a couple prime years left.
No doubt.
And he wants to win.
Well, and historically, right? What do the Saints fight not to do? Blow up their team. They always are trying to
They
win.
will
Since
kick
Shumpert,
that window
They are
down.
trying to win. They're
Yeah.
not. They have not historically shown that they're going to go out there and trade and restart. And so I think that's what he wants. Hey, let me go to somewhere that's at least a stable organization we know we're going to get. Kind of seems like it's a good opportunity here.
I didn't think they had a chance at first. I do think it's picking up.
And
a lot now. I
Devontae's
think that's
personality
becoming
seems
more of
like
a
I
thing.
think he enjoyed New Orleans.
Shoot.
I think he would enjoy it.
I think
over
he
there.
enjoys it wherever he can play with somebody
Yeah.
that understands how he
Yeah.
plays. I don't think he gives a
No
shit
doubt.
where that's at this
Ed-
point.
Oh,
He-
no.
And he went and played in. Oh my God, Derek, he caught that. He went and played in
What are we doing there?
in Green
not
Bay.
fun
He
for
thought he
me.
was throwing it out.
Why
He-
do we do
it wasn't
that?
even close.
And now we're just going to let
Oh
him
my
return it for a
God.
touchdown?
Oh my!
Did he not touch him? What are we doing?
What on earth is?
What are we
happening?
doing?
I'm about to
I really think the receiver touched him.
It was a pick, though? I'm about to see it.
He tried to throw it out of
That's not
bounds.
good.
Very bad.
It wasn't even that close out of bounds, honestly.
No, very bad.
What did I just see?
What happened? What happened? Why did that happen? Why are we doing that?
Oh, God, free runner.
Why are
Tried
we
to throw
doing
it out
that?
the back?
He tried to throw it off. Why are we
Oh,
doing
he
that?
touched. He's down.
He did touch him, right?
Coach, this ball is 4 yards inside. And he caught it. Did he touch him?
I think so.
We love to not touch the player when they're on the ground. Now, we've been doing that for a couple of years.
I
now.
mean, LSU did it against Georgia in the SEC championship. We're just not going to pick up the block field goal. We're just
He
gonna let
touched him right
everybody-
there.
He touched him. All right, he's done. He got kicked behind the head. He Kawasaki'd him behind the head. Right?
Dang, that's a bad. That's bad. And you were driving, you were running the ball, and then you do this.
Really the one thing you can't do.
Can't. I mean, that's.
Derek, throw that thing out there, cuz. I know you got more than that in the tank.
I mean, that's bad.
Oh, man.
Good tackle.
At least it
Oh.
wasn't a pick six.
No.
Good punt. After we're driving on. That was 2nd and 1, if you're wondering.
Not good, not good. That ain't what you want to start.
No. Yeah, not great.
Boy, how do you see this thing playing out?
I was I mean, before that, I don't even know if they
Before
touched
that.
him down.
What?
Like, I'm wondering how they're going to call that. Like, he was in the air when he
You
touched
still.
him.
It's
That counts?
yeah.
Yeah, it counts.
I was big on the Saints, and just the way that the NFL works. I don't think the Chiefs have been that dominant. They are undefeated because good teams find ways to win within the margins. Just like that, you create a turnover where you kind of feel like you're going to give up a scoring drive. That's what the Chiefs do. They play close football games where they don't look their best and still win. You almost have to play, if you're the Saints, a bit like a kind of a perfect football game, or not make the mistakes that gives them the ball back.
Defense. I mean, defense obviously is going to have to.
Yeah, I think
Keep
they will.
Mahomes
Like,
in check.
if I'm a betting man, I took Saints money line and I took the under.
Okay.
That's where I
You
stand.
took the money line and the under. What's the over under?
45 and a
I
half.
think this is going to be a low-scoring one, huh?
Yeah. I guess if you look at the recent weeks of both teams, I think that makes sense.
But if you average them out, does it?
Yeah, Saints.
first he was
Technically, technically, the Saints are the highest scoring team in football.
Yeah. Right.
Still.
Yeah, that's what I'm
45,
saying, yeah.
45 points the first 2 weeks, 18 in the last 2. Not ideal. Not ideal.
Mahomes is-
And I forget, too, you don't have Pacheco in the backfield anymore,
No,
so
you
now
don't.
you got to put Hunt
No.
back in the backfield.
Oh, Kareem Hunt's back.
No Rashi Rice.
Yep.
That's the one
Torn
I was talking
LCL. Out
Yeah,
for the
but-
year.
Juju Smith-Schuster, Xavier Worthy, and
about.
Justin Watson.
Juju's knees not healthy enough to run the routes that Rice
No.
was running.
Right.
What's his name?
Xavier
Young
Worthy's
kid.
not
Worthy's
ready.
too young. He ain't ready to do all of that stuff yet. Kareem ain't really played football since last
Thing
year
too,
for the
yeah.
most part. Like, it's going to be tough for them to do what they want to do.
Just don't let Worthy beat you.
Just don't throw the ball off their back foot. Wait, never mind. I did that.
Yeah. Oops.
Still 0-0. A lot of time left. A lot of game left.
All right.
All game left.
You wanna
Travis
get-
Kelce will probably have a career day
You wanna
because
get
the
to
Saints
the-
cannot cover a tight end to save their life.
Yeah.
That's been an issue since Dennis Allen's been here. Great defense, but cannot, for some reason,
Tight
It's
ends.
because we just give it to them. We got to cover somebody. We
Yeah.
got to give somebody a chance.
10 versus 11.
And they've been giving it to him. 3rd and 3 here. There's Travis Kelce. Is that Travis Kelce?
Yes.
Yep.
Enter Travis into the chat.
All right.
You think
let's-
Taylor Swift's at the game?
There, I don't know.
They ain't sure yet.
She's
I
still-
feel like we know.
I think
already.
she's still
Yeah, we
touring.
would.
Okay. But say we know.
I think she's still touring.
She would have been.
Actually, I
in the
know
opening
she's
song.
still touring because
Because you tried to go.
no, because Allie's got tickets in, next week or 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Just Allie. You don't have the tickets.
Oh,
You not going?
No.
Why not?
I'm still at the crib coach Friday
Y'all
night.
in the game this weekend?
You don't want to go see Taylor
Yeah.
Swift
Try
perform?
to.
You don't want to go?
Honestly, I wouldn't mind it, but I'm not going.
She blows her nose a lot on stage.
Oh, yo. How you know?
Does she?
Yeah.
Oh no! Look,
Boy,
speaking of
there's
tight
not
ends,
another white jersey
wide
in the,
open.
Told you. I know ball.
There wasn't a white jersey in the damn screen when he caught the rock just now.
I mean, I just don't understand why he would throw that.
You're still hung up on this?
I am. Because the replay just popped up on the Twitter
You know, what do
on X.
good players do? Gotta have a
What do good
memory of a
players do?
goldfish.
Yeah, I'm not playing.
Yeah.
They force their way out and they come play in New Orleans.
That's
what
right.
they
I could have caught that.
do.
All right, let's get to the seggies now that the game has started.
I do have a mistake of the day. We talked about it already, but
Brought to you by Dozy Place.
brought to you by Dozy Place. If you want a cheeseburger for lunch, go to Dozy Place, which we need to do that again.
Yeah, we do.
If you want a steak, go to Dozy Place. If you want tamales, go to Dozy Place. If you want whiskey in a glass, go to Dozy Place. If you want to pull a gun out, don't go to Dozy Place.
No barrel awareness.
No. It
No.
burned his hand for sure.
No, I mean, this thing is all over. He probably missed him. He probably really did miss him.
Yeah, it's
the
Jackson
hands are
Dart.
moving all over the place. He can't. He's not. There's not steady. You know. That's not good. That's not good.
That was a lot.
It's crazy.
Like, what do we?
That was a whole lot.
Boy, that is just get. He had to black out. He's like, I'm just
Emptying the clip.
Yep. Didn't even think about it. I just did it.
It'd be like that sometimes. Didn't hit nobody. And then the other little runner-up, Tyler Smith, who plays for the Cowboys, number 70, on the touchdown pass from Dak Prescott to Jalen Tolbert. Bro, it was miraculous. JT sprained his fucking nuts. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. He sprained his nuts to play before, then comes back, makes the game winner. Unbelievable.
Sprained his nuts.
I was actually watching that live, and I told my wife, I'm like, he just got hit in the nuts. Like, the ball just bounced and hit him right there. I'm sure that happened just now. And it definitely happened.
Some things that we just know about. We're like, gotcha.
See, I just see it.
I saw that. I feel
saw
your
the
pain.
reaction. I know the reaction. This dude get that stomach. Oh, God.
Gotta jump up and down.
You know it. You know it.
That's tough. All right, current call brought to you by our friends at Perkins and McKenzie Insurance Company.
Lead it, Lloyd. You got it.
I've got a curtain
And
call.
touchdown. Chiefs just ran right down there, just went methodically right down the field. No deterrence at all. Great.
Quick curtain call. And the man of the hour.
A lot of ball game left, fellas.
A lot of
ball game left. Just means we got to throw the rock.
Diego
Pavia
had an unbelievable interview, and more so a curtain call to who's doing the interview?
Alyssa Lang.
Phenomenal job going back with the second question where it felt like I need to get out of here.
She let it ride, yeah.
And then
not many people caught this. I don't know why, but not many people caught this. This was actually
great
really
interview.
fun. This
Are you going to play it?
Yeah, playing it right now. Give me 1 second, get the audio. But yeah, watching it live. I was
are you curtain calling Diego Pavia, or are you curtain calling?
I think just the
Alyssa
entire
Lang?
the whole
ability to keep kind of going right there.
What a pro!
Diego, what were you saying to your team to finish this game?
Shit.
Games like this change your life, you know what I mean? It's all about life nowadays. I don't like it like that, but it's the reality of NAL and all that stuff. But just stay grounded, be where my feet are, and every single day tomorrow I gotta work out the top. You look at this. Baby, we're fucking tired.
Sandy, we're fucking turned. Never in my life is a sentence I thought I would hear.
Also, if you go look at the aerial view of both of the crowd on the field, Vandy's student section didn't even fill the field.
No.
The field wasn't filled up.
You can't.
Arkansas, the whole stadium felt like it was on the crowd. I mean, on the whole crowd was in the stadium, on the field. But what a win! What a moment that was.
Lloyd,
that man still probably hasn't fallen asleep.
No, of course not.
He put out an NIL tweet. He's like, anybody want to help me?
That's what he said?
Like, brother, you're going to get some help.
I love that.
Lloyd, pull it up in your
Country
email.
singers coming out at him.
I got one. My curtain call is going to go to Jackson Smith and Jigba this week. If you didn't get a chance to see it, if you weren't watching it or you didn't actually know what was going on, there is a thing when you are supposed to be blocking on a run play, and this is obviously not a run play, this was a pass play, but the quarterback broke contain and started a run, which he saw. At that point, if you realize it is man coverage as a receiver, you are, instead of doing the hard thing, which is feeling like you need to block, just run them off. In this case, Jackson Smith and Jigba was able to run off two people, and he faked it so good and deked it so well that he had one of them trying to dive for the pass breakup at one point.
How crazy
while the
is
runner,
that?
while the quarterback was running down the field.
I had that in there too. It's wild. Watch him.
Oh.
Catch me.
He's
Catch me.
tracking
Oh, no.
it too. That's
My man-
unbelievable.
that's what I'm saying. My man literally thought the ball was coming in there. He tried to break the play up.
What a wild.
I love that. That's called real team football. You don't get to see a lot of that stuff.
Savvy
This
sold
is-
separately, baby.
Being able to see stuff like that's usually stuff you only get to see in the All-22. Usually stuff only the team really knows about because they show it in film sessions. That's beautiful bit football right there. I love that.
All right, that was one. I had put 3 in here, really 2, but I'm gonna save one as my backup curtain call. The other one is to the NFL weekend. We talked about the NFL weekend. Within the NFL weekend, you had the LSU football Tigers showing out. Joe Burrow, 392 yards, 5 touchdowns. Jaden Daniels, 320 total yards, a touchdown. Chase, 10 receptions, 193 yards, 2 touchdowns. Brian Thomas Jr., 5 receptions, 122 yards, a touchdown. Jefferson, 6 receptions, 92 yards.
Very nice.
Right? That's a pretty good weekend. Obviously, Malik Neighbors was out with a concussion. But if you go look at, I don't know what the odds are for Rookie of the Year. I would imagine 3 of the top odds getters in Rookie of the Year are Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, and Brian Thomas Jr. It's pretty impressive. Goes to show you how good the offense was last year. But that is...
It's almost frustrating.
Yes, very frustrating. That is my curtain call number 1. Second curtain call.
Oh,
number 2, twice as nice.
History was made this weekend. If you didn't see it, the Denver Broncos defense has been lights out.
See,
right? We thought Cooper DeJean was the guy coming out of Iowa.
There's 2 of them.
There's 2 of them.
There's 2 of them.
Right? A man by the name of Riley Moss. First cornerback with that certain pigmentation in 22 years with an interception in the NFL. Wild. Good for him.
Good for him. They've been circling him for 5 days going into Sunday.
We're going out. That y'all saying right now?
Yeah,
we up, good. We up, good.
We're going out. No.
We next, good.
We're going out. No, I'm just saying. Good for this guy. Great coverage. Great play. Great interception.
They got. Iowa has 6 more DBs on their roster. They're all white playing
That's
corner.
So wild.
Like they're hoarding them all.
Is he from? He's not from Iowa.
Yeah, I think he went to Utah.
That makes sense too. All right. That's all we got. I didn't even see what was going on. Missed him. Yep.
Just straight up missed him. Had him. Missed him. Didn't even drop him.
Was that on Thursday?
No, he went to Iowa.
Really? Wow.
That's great.
Wow.
Kirk Ferentz is maybe. Well.
Okay.
Oh no.
Nice little 2-yard pass on 3rd and 7. All right, man.
Let's get out of here.
Let's go.
All right.
I gotta go watch
Enjoy
this
Monday
game
Night Football.
somewhere
Hopefully
else.
the Saints can do something defensively here to stop the Chiefs. They're down 7-0, 4th and 5. They're about to punt it back to them. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. We'll be back live on Wednesday. Ask Mikey and Mitch Wednesday. Gonna have Bryce Kuhn in studio on Wednesday to talk LSU football, talk college football, and what?
A little
little gambling, obviously. And then we'll be back live that day. There's football on today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday,
Next day, Friday. What?
I think for 50-something straight days. So we have a lot to talk about. Looking forward to it. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you don't like watching us, but you like listening to us. We're anywhere you get your pods. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Peace.